Oh gosh, there's so many ways. I think the big ones that jump out to me in particular are client research, right? So if you look at a typical salesperson, what I've heard for years as well, I couldn't have those calls because I spent 4 hours last week doing research. So I was on a call. I was doing a training this morning, and the guy said, I have a call later. I said, okay, I want you to put this prompt in and let's keep talking. And 5 minutes later, like, he had a dossier on the company, the decision makers, what their backgrounds were, new press releases, trigger events, 3 cold email attempts in a script, and discovery questions in 5 minutes. Now think about how long that would take to manually even think out, no less document it, and get it done. That's a day of work. So
easy, if I 4 or 5 hours, yeah.
Sure. So that's just research. Then there's the prep for the meetings, right? Then there's the follow-up from the meetings. Then there's managing your pipeline. If you're a leader, how do you do the one-on-ones? How do you get all the reports set up? How do you run all this kind of stuff? A lot of this stuff can now be automated. So there is the time-saving things, but there's also the force multiplier of how you can get it done. So this program, this has been years of work, but this years of work was in scattered documents in a Google Drive. So the first thing I did is I had co-work organized 30 years of my life. And then I said, this is what I want to do. We built out the program. I talked to it. I use WhisperFlow. I don't type anymore.
I can't type anyways. It's all.
I know, right? I'm like a 2-finger dude. So 6 weeks later, Claude did 700 PowerPoint slides for me.
Wow.
So this was built in my head to complete this entire business from, I'm going to do this finally, to having it up and launched and selling it 6 weeks.
Wow. That's amazing.
So $40,000 in revenue after 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, the go-to-market opportunity for an idea is fantastic. But I love the fact that you are doing so a proper salesperson, when they're building a relationship, right? They're not just selling a widget here, buy my shit, right? They want to have that relationship with someone. They want to understand the problems that the company is having, the issues that they're having with their products that you can solve and come in. So that's where that research barrier just bogged everybody down. And what I've found when I've played a little bit in it, when I've made my proposals to prospective clients, is I said, okay, tell me where, now that we know all this information, tell me where the gap is that I could fill, right? So now he's guiding me. And I'm sure yours is like, light years ahead of my basic prompt, but so that he can guide me to get to the results that will help the client, the prospective client, latch on to the idea that I could help.
Well, you brought something that's really important there. And I say this, unfortunately, too often. So let's face it, the reputation of a salesperson is generally not great. There's always the used car salesperson. And I hate to say this, but this is the fact of sales today. I'd say over 90% of salespeople are what I call show up and throw up salespeople.
Yep.
So they want to come in and they want to pitch a deck and they want to show you a PDF. And I'll tell any salesperson the best presentation is the one you never did. And I'm trying to teach salespeople how to, you use the doctor's office analogy all the time. Do you go to a doctor's office, shake his hand, tell him back hurts, he gives you pills and sends you out? No. He moves you around. He asks you a bunch of questions. That's the role of a consultative salesperson. So I can help. So for instance, when I was talking about before, I said to the guy, do you know the account? He goes, no. I said, well, why don't we go and ask AI what the top 3 pain points for somebody in this role, in this business might be, and what questions you could ask to uncover that. I don't even know if you could figure that out. Just brain power doing the research. This is the kind of, okay, that just saved me a half hour. Look at the salesperson we talked about before that just saved 8 hours of planning, right? So that's 32 hours a month. Annualize that. That's 400 hours of selling you got back by one freaking prompt.